Hey guys, good day. Hey, I wanted to finish out my Zechariah order of events videos with a summary video that takes, I think it's about 6 videos I did on Zechariah. It just summarizes the entire order top to bottom, chapter 1 through chapter 14. I just want to spend about 5 minutes to go through that because it sort of gives you a bigger picture of event by event. But before I do that, I want to bring light to a prophetic word that Byron received on May 12th. And this is the first time I've seen a prophetic word that came out of him that actually referred to a time frame, a literal time frame, not just it'll be soon or we're very close or any minute now. So this word is called I am God, and it has the same themes that many of the previous prophetic words the Lord has given him. Basically, it boils down to the fact that the Lord finds the United States, this nation, guilty, and that only a small remnant are following His word and paying attention to what's going on at the highest levels of our government. There are too many evangelicals, in my opinion, and the opinion of Byron's prophetic words, that want to follow this king that we've elected, this King Saul, whom I pray for every day. I sort of think he's gone off the rails and he is doing his own thing, and he thinks just like King Saul before that battle. Samuel the prophet didn't show up soon enough, so King Saul took it upon himself to sacrifice, and that's what did him in. So he says, much destruction is coming from the judgments I have decreed, and I say to you, wake up, wake up. Hear the voices of the watchmen crying in the night to get your house in order. He says, I don't speak of your domicile, but I speak of your heart. My children chase and worship every strange god unknown. They refuse to let go of this earth. So I will take it away from them. They worship their cars, their jobs, their houses, all their fame. I will take it all away. Will they worship me then? No. I will take away all their money, their food, their clothing. Will they worship me? No. My son, some will turn to me, but the majority will turn to the king and sell their souls for food and prestige in this short time. I am coming soon to take my remnant and equip them to win the lost in these dark times ahead. The son of perdition will be revealed, and the whole world will marvel and will race to receive his mark, which we think is an RFID chip. Even my children who have turned their backs on me will gladly receive this mark to survive. My son, Israel will come under heavy bombardment, and many will perish. Samson will be released on Damascus, and Damascus, will be no more. The whole world will hate Israel and want it destroyed. But I am with you, and will protect you, my chosen people. Dark days are coming, so am I. Be ready to hear my voice. I will not be mocked, for I am God. Okay, I just wanted to just kind of go through that word and let you guys can download this. But let me just jump to my study. You know what, guys? There was a prophetic word on May 11th. I just want to make light of it. And this is what this says. Byron Searle, May 11th, 2018. You can download this one too. Israel will be attacked by the north by the yellow banner. That would be Hezbollah, is what Byron thinks. And from the east by the Persians. That's Iran. The battles will be fast and furious, but Michael and his army will protect my people. The Persians, the Iranians, will retreat, but will return for another day. There will be a surprise attack on Israel when the nation is in celebration. That could very well refer to the 70-year celebration, which begins tomorrow, May 14th, tomorrow. My son, America will face many tests in the coming days. Some will be man-made. Byron's already prophesied about a man-made tsunami that will be caused by the Russians, what appears to be some kind of nuclear device. Some will be man-made, and the king, that will be Trump, will be blamed. Some will be natural events like earthquakes, and I will be blamed. Fast and furious will these prophecies be fulfilled. These judgments will bring the mightiest revivals, that would be Christian revivals, the world has ever known. My son, warn my remnant to keep on their knees next week. That next week is now. But the time is here that I will be warning about. So listen for the words of Jesus. Okay, guys, I'm going to jump back to Zechariah and just go through really as quickly as I can and just give you the top, kind of the highlights of each chapter. Okay. Chapter 1 started out where Zechariah has a vision, a word in a vision that will be future fulfillment. Zechariah sees the horsemen of similar colors that John did, John the Revelator in Revelation 6. And the Lord makes a reference to these past 70 years. In the past, that was the 70 years of captivity that Judah, the Jews, went through. Remember, Zechariah wrote after the captivity, after the 70-year captivity. So this 70 years could refer to tomorrow, which meets 70 years tomorrow, since the Jewish state of Israel reconstituted and reformed. The Lord again will comfort Zion and again choose Jerusalem. The sixth angel seems to be released, and a third of all mankind will be killed. Right here in chapter 1, right in the beginning. There will be a man with a measuring line, which lines up with Revelation 11. The Lord declares Jerusalem will be inhabited without walls, because they're going to expand their borders after they nuke Damascus. That's from Byron's words. The Lord will make a command to depart, flee, escape from the land of the north and from the daughter of Babylon. This is the rapture, the departure of the remnant to go to the heavenly Mount Zion. This is people might want to call this the pre-rapture. This is the removal of the innocents and the bride of Christ and those who are going to be trained in a supernatural dimension to work the harvest that is coming. This is a departure from this earth or to a supernatural realm on this earth. There will be singing and rejoicing on Mount Zion. The Lord says he will now reside in the midst of this remnant group of people. This is the same as Jeremiah 31, the first fruits reunion at the height of Mount Zion. Many folks are not aware of this pre-rapture here, this removal of the innocents and the remnant. It seems like it's people just think of one rapture of all the believers. This is what's going to bring judgment on the Christian churches, because the children go and a very small group of the believers, the most faithful believers, will be taken, maybe 5 to 10%. And the church who are left behind, even though they may be faithful, they will be in shock and awe when they realize the kids go. Hey, chapter 3. This is a vision. It was a past fulfillment, partial past fulfillment of Joshua, who was a real person, who was the high priest at the time after they came back from Babylon, and actual future fulfillment of Joshua, who represents the bride of Christ, who will be at the judgment seat of Christ. That's what's going on here. This appears to be the judgment seat of those who were taken in this initial departure of the 144,000, the bride, the children. It's a very small group. Okay, and this group will receive a new heavenly body, which are represented by the garments. It says Joshua the bride and Joshua's friend and the bride's friends will be told they will be a sign on the earth. So they're going back to the earth to become a harvesting bride. And when they're back, they're going to be told to invite many under their fig tree. Remember the wedding banquet? Go out into the streets and invite those who are both bad and good to the wedding banquet. This is prior to the wedding banquet. This folks, these harvesters going back. It's the same as Luke 10, verses 1 and 2, where the Lord sends out his harvest workers, the ones that are few. Okay. Chapter 4 is a vision that the prophet received, and he can see that the construction, he's awakened out of his sleep, and that there appears to be back on earth, there's references to in the original past fulfillment, the second temple was being built. So this implies at this time, the third temple will begin construction. And somebody named Zerubbabel, who I think is Benjamin Netanyahu, who is an architect, a builder, he will be laying the foundation, and he will be putting on the capstone. Then the two anointed ones, the two witnesses, they are mentioned too. So they're probably right there when these guys are building this third temple, and they're probably telling everybody, do not let who the eventual Antichrist is come in and sit in that place. Chapter 5 speaks of a flying scroll that comes over the whole land, the whole earth. That's a curse for people who steal and swear falsely. I do not think this is a missile or a bomb, although it could be. I think it's some sort of message from the Lord. It's on a scroll. There also appears to be a reference to this woman, this wicked woman in a basket taken to Shinar. I think this may be a point in time where a world leader is moving to the Middle East to set up a new residence. This might be the Antichrist getting ready to rule in the Middle East. Rule the world from the Middle East. Okay, chapter 6. This is all future fulfillment. There's another vision of chariots with many horses of colors, reminiscent of Revelation 6 again. And Joshua is promised that Joshua, along with the branch, who we know to be Jesus, will rule together and sit on thrones together. Same reference in Revelation 3. This could be a reference to the millennial reign. Chapter 7. This actually happened. There's actual past fulfillment that the folks at the time of Zechariah came to him and they were asking about when and if they should fast. And the Lord indignantly, the word given to Zechariah, the Lord responds indignantly, instructs them to take care of the poor, the widows, and the fatherless, and be kind to everyone. Do not devise evil against anyone. I think this may have some sort of reference to people in this time, in this modern time, saying take care of people because there will be devastation all over the earth for those who are left behind. Chapter 8, there's a reference to the Lord returning to Zion, which is the same reference that's in Hosea 5:15, after the little ones of the flock are taken. So here I think this is the Lord's proclaiming that he's returned to Zion. There's a scene in Jerusalem, which is the heavenly Mount Jerusalem, in my opinion, and it says the people that are there who are living sort of in a utopian lifestyle right there in the heavenly Mount Zion, it says it's only for the remnant of his people. And the Jews, the house of Judah, and the house of Israel are mentioned in chapter 7. And I would say the house of Israel, the house of Judah will join the Jews at the millennial reign, it says in Jeremiah 3. So this house of Israel really is referring to the Christians that are there. And this is reinforced because it says that the house of Judah will be participating in monthly feasts. But there's no mention of the house of Israel required to do that at this time in chapter 8, which is a future fulfillment. At the time Zechariah wrote this, the house of Israel was already dispersed. There was no house of Israel when Zechariah wrote chapter 8. It's all future fulfillment, and it's similar to chapter 2. Okay, chapter 9 is when the beginnings of the rapture begin, or the harvesting, or the time of trial. The first verse in chapter 9, verse 1, is essentially identical to Isaiah 17:1. Damascus, Hadrach, Hamath, Tyre, Sidon, all nations north of Israel are destroyed with fire. And it says all the eyes of men will be on the Lord. Same thing in Isaiah 17:7. Then the cities where the Palestinians currently live today, these guys who hate the Jews, the Lord will remove their hatred from their mouth, and the Palestinians, will become like a clan of Judah. And the Lord will protect them as he protects a remnant, but these guys will be on the earth. Then the military equipment of the USA and modern-day Israel will be destroyed, same as Isaiah 17:3. The beginning of Zechariah 9 is identical to Isaiah 17, really. Then there is those who participated in the new blood covenant will be freed from the waterless pit. This is the resurrection of the dead in Christ, in my opinion. It's right. Basically, it aligns with 1 Thessalonians 4:16. So we're in chapter 9. We see Isaiah 17, and then we see a reference to 1 Thessalonians 4:16, the resurrection of the dead. Those who participated in this new covenant of blood is what the prophet says. This resurrected group, they're referred to as an arrow, the Ephraim, who are called the sons of Zion. They're going to go to war against the sons of Greece. Ephraim, we know, Ephraim in this sense is the spiritual Ephraim, the first fruits who return back to the height of Mount Zion from Jeremiah 31. Then we see in verse 14, it's exactly what the rapture verse says from Thessalonians. Then the Lord will appear over his people. He will send out his arrows as the trumpet of God is sounded. The Lord will save and protect his people and cause them to shine in the land. Recall the words of Jesus, let your light so shine before others. Then chapter 10 appears to be commentary of chapter 9. This group of Ephraim, these warriors, these sons of Zion, they will be supernaturally enhanced physically and will become like a mighty warrior, which is a description of an angel. Then the Lord will whistle for Ephraim and gather them in, and they will bring their children with them. The Lord will gather in his harvesting army, just like Matthew 24:31. He will gather his elect. Chapter 11 is where the Antichrist is revealed and given power to rule the world. But right before the Antichrist comes, it says total destruction comes in the form of fire. All sorts of trees are cut down, signifying that many leaders are killed and destroyed. Their shepherd, the shepherd's glory, is ruined. This sounds like the trumpet judgments from Revelation 8. Then the shepherd, who has taken control, who's offered to take control by the Lord, taken control of a flock that's called the flock doomed to be slaughtered. And this guy, this shepherd, kills 3 other world leaders, so that identifies him as the Daniel 9:24 shepherd, who is the Antichrist. So the Antichrist comes on the scene and is given power in chapter 11. Notice when this rapture occurs in chapter 9. What does that mean? That means we have a pre-mark of the beast, or pre-great tribulation. See, I would say that the tribulation, in my opinion, is when all hell breaks loose and the world's essentially destroyed. That's my definition of it. But many people say the tribulation, or the great tribulation, is when the shepherd, the Antichrist, takes over. So this, to me, defines that there indeed is a pre-great tribulation rapture. The Christians who are faithful will be removed in Zechariah 9 prior to this Antichrist taking control in chapter 11. Chapter 12 starts off where it says the Lord will save his people. Basically, the Lord returns to save Judah at this point. The Lord will save his people, and the Jews in Jerusalem will be supernaturally enhanced. Their physical bodies will be enhanced. The feeble will be as strong as David when David was a warrior. And the house of David, the regular Jews, will be like an angel. Same kind of thing as Ephraim. These people will be transformed, and they will fight for Jerusalem. Then finally, the end of chapter 12, the house of Judah will look up, and they will look upon him whom they have pierced, and they will mourn as one mourns for an only son. The Jews will finally know their Messiah, Yeshua, Jesus, in chapter 12. Chapter 13, there is a fountain that opens up, and the Jews appear to be getting baptized by the pure water that's going to come from Jesus. No more deception at all. Then the Lord will kill the mark of the beast babies. These are the babies that were born during the Great Tribulation, or when the mark of the beast was instituted. These babies were not made in the image of God. They were made in the image of Satan. So the Lord must kill them. Just like Ken Peter's vision, he only saw little children around because all of the children who were older were removed during the raptures. So that's chapter 13. Chapter 14, I didn't actually summarize chapter 14 because it's pretty self-explanatory when you get to it. Chapter 14 is a day that's coming to the Lord. Well, he will, and it's referred to as on that day, then the Lord my God will come with all his holy ones with him. It's a special day. No light, no cold, it's a special day, really. No light, cold, or frost. It's a unique day, which is known to the Lord. It says, for there will never be again a decree of utter destruction. And the people will, for the millennial reign, they seem to keep the Feast of Tabernacles, the Feast of Booths, and everybody in the world will be required to come to Jerusalem during that 1 week. If they don't come, they won't receive rain for their harvest, for their crops. So guys, I just wanted to kind of go through this quickly. You guys can go through this summary yourself, and it helps us understand the actual order of events instead of speculating on them. With that, guys, have a great day. God bless you.